Okay, everyone. Welcome to another edition for the first time in God knows how long into this edition of Chuck and Ruck. I am your ever-loving host, The Ruck, and we have a special edition today. First off, welcome to my man, the ever-cool, the ever-charming Chuck. Chuck, what it do, baby boy?
Hey, what's happening, man?
What's
How
happening?
everybody doing out there?
Everybody doing good. And as you can see, we have a special host today. Someone that means very dear to me. Someone digging from the 305. Someone who was old from the old days of WrestleRama. I give you the one, the only Benny effing Lorie.
What's up? I thought you were gonna call me Alex A-Train, but we'll leave that one alone.
Oh, that's for another day.
I want you to clip that and send that to him. On my bad. Go ahead.
That's for a whole nother rainy day. But today we have a special. Today on the menu, we talk about the crazy offseason that is the NBA. The NBA offseason, which has been a rather loving dandy. So let's get right into it. The ever shifting, the ever changing Dame to the Miami Heat. Now we have gone back and forth so far with this whole ever Rama that is Dame to Miami. First off, he basically is mandated that he wants to be traded. Now it has gone to last I heard it has gone to an impasse in which they have basically said that he basically told them flat out he wants out of there and he has demanded that he wants to be traded. But last I had checked, it has had an impasse that it has gone to basically a standstill and basically to a staring contest. But I have heard earlier that Miami has given them an offer of at least 3 first-round picks and Tyler Herro. Now, Benny, my man, you have some little intel on this whole trade involving Dame to Miami. So, my brother, what have you got?
Well, I will tell you this, and there's a couple stories. This kind of reminds me of watching the DC version of Batman v Superman, where there was like 20,000 stories in one. When in reality, it's confusing everybody and just getting everybody pissed off. So I'm going to lay it down for you so you can understand. This is not me speculating. This is me telling you what's going on.
Okay.
James has said it. Mark Spears has said it. Barry Jackson, Ethan Drew Skolnick. These are just some of the names that cover the Heat or cover the NBA that were, I was thinking of another insider reporter that used to work on TV, David Aldridge. There we go. These are some of the people that said from the beginning, Miami was the only option for Dame.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what's going to happen. And this is from them. The only person who I think he's still a credible, resourceful inside reporter, but I just think that he obviously is playing the whisper game, the telephone game that we used to play when we were kids. And the person that is doing the telephone talk is the Trailblazers general manager. He's pretty much talking in his ear, making a whole bunch of nonsense, and he's looking like pretty much a petulant child and not making any sense at all. So bottom line is everybody outside of ESPN and people that just want to just relatively, quote unquote, hate on the Heat, for lack of better words, have basically said that Miami's offer is trash. Well, if you look at every other team, nobody else has offered anything to Portland. Here's the reason why. Dame has specifically said, now granted, he doesn't have a no trade clause like Bradley Beal did. Dame has a situation where he pretty much said, I'm going to make your life miserable if I go anywhere else but Miami. Portland's in an impasse, which I understand from their point of view, that they want to make moves and get things done. Bottom line is, right now, it's an impasse, but it's going to happen. So this is what's happening right now. Portland is trying to say, okay, we don't care. We're going to get whatever the hell we want, even though Miami's offered us something. The 3 first-round picks and Tyler Hero is just the second thing. What it was in the beginning was Miami obviously doesn't want to give up a lot of assets. Obviously, they just lost, a couple of their key players, that just left. One went to Lakers and one went to Cleveland. Strus, and Vincent, just to name a few. So Miami's trying not to lose the whole house, if you will. So what's happening is that Miami has the leverage and Portland doesn't, because Miami is the only team that Dame wants to go to. Portland just realizes that they can't get anybody else. So here's the thing. They are trying to, and this is again, the people that I just mentioned, this is not my sources or anything like that. This is legitimate, straight up facts. Miami is offering lowballing, offering Portland, which is going to happen is that Portland obviously doesn't want to just take Tyler Hero. Obviously, they just picked up a guard. They're guard heavy already in Portland, even with Dame. So they're trying to get Nurkic off of their books. Nurkic is a contract heavy deal that is not team friendly at all. So one or two things is going to happen. Nurkic is going to be packaged to Miami with Dame, or there are going to be 3, 4, or even 5 teams involved. And there are people that have reached out to Miami. There are teams that have reached out to Miami that are willing to help Miami out. But they want to get players that are heavy loaded contracts off their books. I.e., for example, Brooklyn. Brooklyn is willing to, from what I've been hearing from some of the beat writers in Miami, is that Brooklyn will get Tyler Hero and Miami will give away their 2 first-round draft picks or 3 first-round draft picks. Brooklyn will give away a couple of their draft picks that they will give for Tyler Hero to Miami, but will shift it to Portland. And Miami will get Ben Simmons and Damian Lillard. And Brooklyn will get Nurkic.
Okay.
Which, to me, to be honest with you, I honestly, and I envisioned in my head, and I told you about this, Jeff, Ben Simmons is not exactly a good shooter.
No.
That's not something that is surprising or shocking, but Ben Simmons would fit the system perfectly because you can have Dame at the 2, you have Jimmy at the 3, and you have Bam at the 5, and if Caleb Martin stays in Miami, you can have him play at the 4. And Ben Simmons can be the guy that can distribute the ball when they're both on the floor. And if it works out perfectly, and what I envision in my head, who's going to beat the Miami Heat? Now, right now, granted, nothing's happened. So here's what's going on right now. Outside of those trade offers that I just mentioned, those trade packages potentially that could happen, because I'm hearing that San Antonio might be involved in a sign and trade with Miami and Brooklyn and with Portland. You also have possibly Toronto, maybe New York, Orlando. These are teams that are just spitballing in the air because obviously Portland wants to get younger. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen is Portland is right now at the point where they don't know what they want. They're trying to aim big and they can't. Joe has a history of making bad decisions and bad trades. Nobody wants to sign as a free agent to Portland, so they have to do everything by the draft. So what's going to happen is Portland is going to panic, and I do believe they do not want Dame back at the start of training camp, even though Joe said, oh, Dame's back, Dame's back. They want to make sure that this trade is done before the start of training camp, which, according to my calculations, is right around the corner in September. So I honestly think that this trade will get done in some capacity, whether it is going to be an even trade or it is going to be a one-sided trade or there's going to be multiple teams. But I do believe, based on my own speculation and based on conversations that I've had with some of these beat writers, that Dame will get traded to Miami before the start of training camp.
That makes all sense. That makes all sense in that regard. It should happen by the start of training camp, because I feel the further this gets along, the further you just going to damage this whole thing with Dame and damage just Portland. Like, it's just going to get worse and worse.
The damage is already done. The damage is already done. He's already stated that yeah, he wants to go. He wants to do the LeBron James avenue. He wants to go back to Portland to finish his career, but he wants to win a championship. Obviously, Portland is not in the championship winning mood. They're in a rebuilding mode.
Right.
My thing is that the more this stays prolonged, the more this is not going to help Portland out with Damian Lillard or LaMarcus Aldridge or any other Portland Trailblazer legend that has played, around this era or the last era, that wants to potentially come back and retire their jersey or anything like that. That's not going to happen.
No.
As long as that guy's there. And also, you have another thing too that I forgot to mention. You have to factor in possibly Portland, the ownership selling the team. And obviously, if you're selling the franchise,
I did not
you
know.
want to make sure you have valuable assets on your team. But also at the same time, it's kind of vice versa. Like when the Miami Marlins sold their franchise, they sold their franchise knowing that they were going to get rid of Giancarlo Stanton and all these other pieces, because it helps the value of the franchise go up even higher for the asking price to go in. So there could be a potential where ownership is like the new ownership that's going in, because right now it's kind of like how the Green Bay Packers are. They don't have a legitimate owner. It's the governor board of directors and things like that. That's why Aaron Rodgers took so long to get traded to the Jets. So it's kind of the same thing with Portland. So that also plays a factor as well.
Okay, then. Chuck, you got anything to add on that?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for coming on with us. We appreciate it. Hopefully to have you more often. Appreciate it. But it's funny you mentioned Ben Simmons. Like the way he handled his situation in Philly, it was like the opposite of Kevin Durant, how he wanted out and he waited and eventually got to his team. Is there any way that Dame starts the season in Portland and is content to wait on a Miami coming with a better contract, or could it possibly get pretty ugly if he's not traded before the start of the season? Or third, could another team like say Philly or Boston come out of somewhere with an offer for Jaylen Brown or Tyrese Maxey? Could they come out and jump over Miami?
Well, there's something that a lot of people didn't know about this. First of all, if a player signs a supermax, if they sign a contract extension, they're available via trade within 30 to 90 days. If a player signs a supermax, which Maxey qualifies for just as much as Jaylen Brown was in Boston, that player is not available via trade for a whole season. So Philadelphia has pretty much said that they do not want to get rid of Tyrese Maxey. Another thing too is that I could see Dame possibly, playing in Portland at the beginning of the season. And again, I'm just going based on the conversations that I've had with beat writers. And they've also not thrown that out the window as well. But think about it this way. If let's say you are working for company A, and kind of like the rules of the NBA, you could trade players and things like that. Company A was offering you a severance package where if you were to leave right now, they would offer you X, Y, and Z. You leave to go to company B, but X, Y, Z doesn't go with you to company B. You'll be pissed. So my thing is that there's a possibility that, and this is the reason why teams are literally scared, because his agent has literally specifically has spoken to teams, and the teams have reached out to him, and they pretty much said, do not trade for Dame. Because if you trade for Dame, he's not going to come, which means that, think about it. You are a general manager in the National Basketball Association, the NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, it doesn't matter, whatever the case may be. You honestly think that it's wise as a general manager, when you feel that that threat is coming in, to trade future assets or valuable pieces that could be on a championship contending team that you currently have or don't currently have, and you trade those pieces away for a player that you potentially are going to buy out, and then he has his way in Miami? People forget that Jimmy, when he was in Philadelphia, he wanted to come before he came to Philadelphia. I'm sorry, when he was in Minnesota, there was trade rumors of him going to Miami. That apparently didn't work out. He got traded to Philadelphia. He played for a season or two, then went to Miami when he was a free agent. They did a sign and trade thing. That could also happen with Dame, but I honestly do believe in my heart of hearts that this is going to happen before the start of the season. I literally see, I honestly, and I apologize, I literally see, and if you can't notice it, if you look at all the interviews or the press conferences that Joe Cronin's had, the Portland Trail Blazers general manager, notice that his tone and his demeanor has changed, and he seems more like he's panicking and he's getting nervous. So that's the reason why I'm saying it. He's not getting his way. There's no leeway with Dame. And I honestly think that, you know, it's like LeBron or Dwayne Wade in Miami. When if Dwayne Wade were to say, I want to leave Miami and I want to go play for my hometown, Chicago, I think Pat Riley would make a way to trade Wade to Chicago without affecting him or affecting the franchise. And I think that Portland needs to take that step up. The same thing that they did with LeBron when LeBron said, hey, I want to go to Miami. At least Cleveland, what they did was they got a sign and trade. They actually got draft picks in return. So that's something that Portland really needs to consider, because honestly, Miami's not giving them crap. They actually are giving them what they want. They want draft picks. That's ultimately what they want.
Very true. I was just about to mention to you, I was just about to mention the whole thing because I remember we had a conversation about this. Like, you had mentioned about Dame, and we're gonna move on from this too in a second, that Dame has basically not like out there, but he has secretly mentioned to any team, like, if you technically trade for me, I'm not playing for you. That I will ask for my release, basically, and I will be an unrestricted free agent because I want to play for Miami and nobody else. You did mention that secretly to me, like, the other day. So this is kind of like a lose-lose situation for Portland. Like, it's crazy how this happened, but how we got to this point, but here we are. But moving on here, moving on to the next thing here, I wanted to ask both of y'all this here, like, as we had a crazy off season so far, like, who do you feel has had the most productive off season as far as like trade signings and even draft? Who you feel has had the best off season basically so far?
Oh, I'll go first.
Go ahead, Chuck.
As far as big time moves this offseason, I would probably say Golden State. Um, First of all, they got rid of Jordan Poole. I guess they felt that he would never be the type of point guard that they want him to be, because he obviously has talent. But speaking of Dame, I heard Dame Lillard don't like him either. So they got rid of him in Golden State. Bringing in Chris Paul. I like that move. I think they will once again have a, heavy veteran-led team. Bringing back Draymond is big, because it was even starting last offseason when he got in the fight and throughout the season, it was kind of rumors. Was he going to stay? Was he going to go? Were they going to try to lowball him? I think he got paid pretty well, over $100 million. So, I like Golden State. I don't think they're going anywhere. Is this enough to win a championship? I don't know as of yet, because Denver is so freaking good. but I do like the moves they made. I think they helped themselves probably more than any other team right now. Getting rid of a malcontent, somebody that didn't want to be there, bringing in, a true leader who has done everything except winning the NBA championship. But he's been through the battle, so you don't have to worry about what's gonna happen if Steph Curry sit down. The game is still gonna flow with Chris Paul. I like that move.
All right. That's a solid answer. Benny, let's go.
Well, going back to the Draymond situation, I mean, Steve Kerr actually said this, and it was quoted. We're not the same team without Draymond. We're not going to win anything without Draymond. This franchise destroyed if Draymond doesn't come back. He is the integral part of that, and I agree. I agree with what Golden State did this offseason. I think it was a bold move from them. Thank God, that they didn't that this team that I'm about to talk about didn't grab him, because holy cow, nobody's really talking about the Lakers. And I think that the Lakers really made some really good moves. They made solid moves. I mean, they took Gabe Vincent away from me, but I'll leave that one alone. I mean, they re-signed Austin Reeves and Rui. They signed up Vincent, Tershawn Prince, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, just to name a few. They re-signed also D'Angelo Russell, Maxwell Lewis, Jalen Hood, Stefano to the rookie scale contract. So, I mean, I think the Lakers actually, made some moves to improve their roster. That's one team that I was looking at. I mean, what do you guys think about the Houston Rockets? And everybody's favorite knockdown version of Dennis Rodman, just the Sears Z-list person and Dylan Brooks. What you guys think of that $80 million contract that he had?
Dylan Brooks is a guy that a lot of people hate him because he may be a little wild, but the dude is a go-getter. Yeah, he may do too much, but I like Dylan Brooks. I really do. And yes, I give credit to Houston. They had themselves a productive offseason, so I'll give them props for that. I really seriously do. And I like Jalen. I like Jalen Green as a player. I think Jalen Green has potential to really be something special in the coming years, maybe even this season, to be honest with you. I think he has really strong potential. Oh, and correct me if I'm wrong if I say this. The guy they drafted, Scoot Henderson, watch out for that guy. That guy could be something really special. Scoot Henderson has really potential to be something. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a homer here, so don't nobody boot me off of here. Nobody boot me off of here.
More
Anything?
things change, more they stay the same. Go ahead, Con.
No.
On your favorite team, the Los Angeles Raiders. Go ahead.
Bite me, Benny. I actually like the Cavs and what they done this offseason. I really seriously do. Cavs' biggest weakness that I felt that they had was shooting. The Cavs really needed shooting, and I don't think they had enough. And what did they do this offseason? They addressed shooting. They added George Niang. They got a Max Strus from Miami, of all places. Even though Strus basically choked and he didn't look good at all in the finals against Denver, but Strus really looked good in the regular season and was a productive shooter. But I have to say this though. I have to put this out there. The guy that with the most intrigue of all to me, and it has really strong potential, although it is a true low risk, high reward, was Imani Bates, the guy they drafted the 49th pick in the second round. People don't really realize about this guy, but couple years ago, that guy was the number one 5-star, number one overall recruit out of high school, over some top flight guys 2 years ago. The issue with him is that yes, he could shoot. The guy has an amazing stroke ability. That guy can shoot from anywhere. Yes, the guy has issues on the defensive side of the ball, and he's not really a setup guy, nothing else. But the guy has nasty handles, and the guy has amazing stroke ability. He can shoot from anywhere. On the offensive side of the ball, that guy is perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect to play alongside Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. I mean, like fits like a glove. Now, the issue with him, however, is
Is he gonna see the court this year?
I mean, if his ability on the offensive side of the ball, yeah, he should be because yeah, he could stroke. He could stroke probably better than the guy. He could stroke probably better than only better. The only person I could probably stroke better than him is probably Donovan Mitchell. To be perfectly honest with you, but the issue is his ability to defend, which Chuck, you of all people should know that is a no on JB Bickerstaff. Like that is a huge no on his end.
Yeah, only person who got to play defense is Donovan Mitchell. Everybody else,
Right.
y'all got to get out.
Absolutely. That is a huge no on his coach on his end there. But he may not play at the beginning of the season, but I can assure you, the more they see him in practice, the more that dude is basically unmissable on the side on that side there. Yeah, I can truly see him getting some more playing time because that guy cannot miss at all.
Now, as far as the Cavs moving, and I'll let you jump in here in a second, Benny. But as far as the Cavs moves, like I like the moves, but I don't think it was a tremendous upgrade because if you think about it, he's good. I heard that he has a decent handle where he's not just a set shooter all the time. But isn't that sort of like the same thing Jetty did? I mean, yeah, Jetty was inconsistent, but Jetty was more than a catch and shoot player. I don't think the Cavs utilized him as well.
Well,
So it's like, with the Cavs and JB Biggerstaff, it's how he uses his team and his rotations that's gonna be called into question because no matter who we get, if JB don't use he only use the same handful of guys, it's not really gonna matter.
well, that's very true. So, Benny, what exactly are we getting in Max Strus? What exactly are we getting in him?
Well, I also want to throw out here a couple winners as well.
Go ahead.
Not teams, but players that got their bag, and not just any players. I'm talking about undrafted players. This was a year free agency of undrafted players getting the bag. I mean, people forget that Duncan Robinson about a year or two ago,
yes,
highest paid undrafted player in NBA history.
Oh yes, he definitely got his.
I mean, Strus has 4 years, $62 million plus in his contract. Fred VanVleet has 3 years, $128 million. I mean, Gabe Vincent's probably the low end of it, but I mean, he could still take us to go to a 5-star restaurant and still have money left over to wipe his ass at the end of the day. But I'll leave that one.
Shout out to Fred VanVleet, by the way, for making. Shout out to Fred VanVleet for being the highest paid undrafted player in NBA history. But he definitely deserves
he deserves it. He deserves it. But I'll going back to your question about Max Strus. I think you guys are getting a phenomenal player. I hate you for getting him. But obviously because of the Dame situation, which at the time I didn't understand why we were getting rid of him, but now it's making sense why they did that. The the Strus situation is this. This is an undrafted player who was signed by Boston, cut by Boston, picked up by Miami, and he fit the culture very well. He fit the team mold very well. I think you guys are getting a hard-nosed player who wants to be that guy, wants to be him, in air quotes. And he's a phenomenal shooter. Defense is something he definitely needs to work on. I would say something that needs to be fixed. It's not going to happen overnight, but I would say he's made leaps and bounds to the player that he is now. And I would want Max Strus on my team, and I wish we never got rid of him. And I think you guys are getting a hell of a player and a hell of a piece. He kind of reminds me of a smaller version of Tony Kukoc, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I remember the Gunner. I remember the Gunner back from the Bulls days.
Max Strus is not
high
afraid to take it to the
praise.
hole.
That
Strus
is
not afraid
very
to take it
high
to the hole.
praise.
He'll dunk on you if he has to.
That is very high praise right there. Wow, that is a lot to say.
Again, I hate you for taking him.
That's a lot to say. Okay, then. Well, that about wraps this up for this edition of Chuck and Ruck. Benny, thank you so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hey, how about we come back for one more? How about let's come back for one more? And next time we come back, we do predictions on we do some NFL predictions for each division. Wanna do that? Alrighty then. So thank y'all so much for coming on. Thank y'all so much for listening. This is Chuck and Ruck. I am the Ruck. That is the Chuck. And that's my man Benny from 305. Appreciate it. Peace, love, and